Thank you for plugging into this Family Life News podcast, streaming issues-driven, family-focused news.
And welcome back to another edition of Capital Connection. Fridays during the Noon Report, we give you direct connection to what's happening in Albany and Harrisburg with the experts on the issues. At the state capitals, they are, as always, Jason McGuire of New Yorkers for Constitutional Freedoms and Michael Geer at the Pennsylvania Family Institute. Jason, to mask or not to mask? That is the question these days in New York. Of course, the mask came off for the vaccinated this week, but the state says local businesses can set their own mask rules, and that's causing a little confusion out there. I want to ask you, do you think that local businesses should have the right to ask you for proof of vaccination?
Well, I think the proof of vaccination is a different question than perhaps mask wearing or not. I don't think that a business should be there getting into my personal health decisions and policies regarding that. If a store wants to require masks of all of its customers, that's certainly up to the store. The market will drive that, though. And most large businesses across the nation, the national retail chains, are moving away from a mask policy. That tells you where the customer base is.
Yeah, quick follow-up to that. The state, on the same day the mask came off, so to speak, the state clamped down on daycares and summer camps. Kids as young as 2 have to mask up outdoors. What's that all about?
Well, that flies in the face of the CDC guidance, and I just don't understand the state's policy regarding that. It's going to require that campers over the age of 2 that are not fully vaccinated must wear face coverings except when eating, drinking, showering, swimming, sleeping, or resting. But if you're outside fishing at the pond, you got to wear a mask, but if you're in the cabin sleeping, you don't. It just doesn't make sense, like so much of what has been occurring here in the state regarding COVID policy. It's just not consistent.
Yeah, let's talk about the big primary elections earlier this week. Mike, I know you were pleased to see those 2 statewide referendums that rein in Governor Wolf's pandemic powers, both of them passed. Were you surprised at the results, and what does it mean going forward?
Well, I was pleasantly surprised at the results. We didn't know how it was going to go. We knew it was going to be close because there were a lot of forces that were advocating for shooting down the referendums, these constitutional amendments, including the language that the the administration put together that was very confusing. But ultimately, I think people of Pennsylvania, the voters of Pennsylvania, at least 54% of them, saw it for what it was and said it was time to not only restrain this governor's power related to COVID, but future governors' powers, that they can't continually renew these emergency declarations and keep sole power to themselves over an extended period.
Yeah, I like what you said. Independence Day is May 18th now in Pennsylvania. Yeah. All right. Hey, great stuff. Jason, New York's Attorney General made big news this week. She's investigating former President Trump, which means she's maybe not investigating current Governor Cuomo. Many are wondering if this Cuomo probe is more of a dog and pony show and how serious Democrats are when it comes to this impeachment inquiry. Your thoughts on that?
Well, here's to hoping the Attorney General can walk and chew gum at the same time, because we really do need to have some attention on that Cuomo investigation. It has been, seems like, stalling in the Assembly Judiciary Committee, and I am anxiously awaiting seeing what the Attorney General is going to do as well. I'm hoping that report will be out in early June, but I just have no confidence at this point that it's moving very quickly at all.
Yeah, a lot of folks, Rob Astorino even hinted at this earlier this week, that she is using this as leverage as she may be about to embark on a Democratic run herself. What are your thoughts?
Well, that may be why the report will come out sooner than later. If she can pop the report now, it helps clear the path and the perception if she does essentially leave the AG's office, that stands for aspiring governor in this instance, and decides to run for governor herself.
Hey, the governor of Pennsylvania, Michael, made big news this week as well by his Juneteenth proclamation, where he pretty much threw police officers under the bus, accusing many of them of being racist. Should he apologize to the state police?
Well, I think he should, and the state police union is calling for it, the FOP and the state police organization. You know, Governor Wolf is, a lot of people don't know it because he seems so mild-mannered, but he was named by Huffington Post as the most liberal governor in America, and he's just following suit with these kinds of statements and proclamations and things with the progressive end of the Democrat Party that he is part of, and he should apologize to the police because they are the front line in protecting citizens here in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, and the kind of things that he said about them are not called for.
Yeah. Lee Zeldin picking up a big endorsement from former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo. It seems like the GOP is getting behind him more and more. There's also former Westchester County Executive Rob Astorino, who ran once before for Governor Jason, and then there's this guy, a Giuliani, but not the one you're thinking of. This is the son of the former mayor, 35-year-old Andrew Giuliani, officially a candidate for governor. Can he make some noise, or is his 15 minutes of fame about to be over?
Well, that all depends on how much money he can raise and how far the consultants will push him. I suspect with the Giuliani name, he may last a little longer than some would like, to be perfectly honest. We live in New York State, and it's going to be challenging to put up the name Giuliani on the ticket that is closely tied to Donald Trump and have any success in a gubernatorial run. It's just tough right now to run under that name, and I think that Andrew Giuliani is going to find that difficulty as he runs into the buzzsaw of electoral politics here in the Empire State.
Yeah, Doug Mastriano, he's a name you like in Pennsylvania. He has been floating now as a candidate for governor. In fact, he admits that Donald Trump told him months ago he should run. Four-term Congressman Lou Barletta is running for governor. He might be the front runner at this point. What do you think, Michael?
Well, he has some name recognition because of a run for the United States Senate in the past, and being a United States congressman from the sort of eastern central part of Pennsylvania. He made a name for himself as the mayor of Hazleton, Pennsylvania, quite a number of years ago when he took a stand against illegal immigration and encouraging people to speak English with a lot of immigrants in his city of Hazleton. Yeah. Whether or not he's going to be a formidable candidate remains to be seen. We're still a little bit early, and there are other names that are likely to be popping into the race, and who the party gets behind, who has the money, or all of the factors that are going to be making a difference in what happens in that race.
All right, let's talk policy, moving away from politics, Jason. And the state legislative session is quickly winding down. June 10th, the last day they're scheduled to be in Albany. Whether it's efforts to curtail privacy rights when it comes to vaccines, the undermining pregnancy resource centers, or exposing kids to indoctrination when it comes to their sexuality, there is a lot to keep an eye on. Of all that the lawmakers are pushing at this late hour, what most keeps you up at night, Jason McGuire?
Well, of all the issues that are moving, I mean, I think most people don't understand that as you come to the final days of session, there's probably literally dozens of bills we have to speculate as to what may move, because a bill will be announced it's moving, and maybe 2-3 minutes later it moves through a committee and it's heading to the floor. So it's tough to speculate as to what will move. But we're watching very closely this bill that would require mandate vaccine reporting. That's a privacy issue. It's a civil liberty concern, and so-called Senate 75 or Assembly 279 is one we're watching in the final days of this legislative session.
All right. And backed by popular demand, of course, the pandemic canceled so much of our lives last year, Michael, including this, but it's back. Your City on a Hill Youth Leadership Conference. We love bragging on this because it really focuses on the next generation of leaders in our country. You are taking applications for it. What is it? How can our listeners get involved?
Yes, City on the Hill is a week-long youth leadership and worldview camp for high school teens, and we've been doing it since 2001 with 1 year where we didn't do it, which was last year because of the COVID pandemic. But we're back. It's hosted at Lancaster Bible College with 2 days at the Pennsylvania State Capitol, and it is all about helping these young people who come discover the God-given leadership skills that they have. It's full of fun and adventure. We really see it as a life-changing experience for these young people, and that's what they report back to us. So we're excited that it's back on for 2021.
All right, and that'll happen later this summer. And if you want more information about that, Michael, that's all on your website. Where can they find it?
PAFamily.org.
And stay involved as the New York State legislative session winds down. A lot of issues out there. Jason, where can folks find out more?
AlbanyUpdate.com.